To the Chicago League, Cam Smith back with David Haugh and Joshua Perry, and we're talking Bears because they had the 10th overall pick. So we're going to do a game of hypotheticals with this Bears team, especially since Ben Johnson is in the building. It's time to go to work, everybody. So here's a hypothetical. We're going to go through these draft scenarios to help Ben Johnson. So, Ben, we got you, man. This is the first one, okay? Who are they deciding with that 10th overall pick? Are they going offense and looking at that offensive line? We talked about this yesterday, David. This team has to build from the football out. Yes. Do they go with offensive tackle and Will Campbell, or do they go defense with the edge rusher and Abdul Carter?
That's tough. Abdul Carter is a game wrecker. I think he, in most recent Bears memory, like Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. He could be Micah Parsons, the Penn State comp. But I'm going offensive tackle. I'm going with Will Campbell because the Bears need to rebuild the offensive line. I think if he's on the board, given those two, even though it's so tempting to get a guy like Carter, I would go safe route with the tackle.
I'm there with you. I think Will Campbell's going to be phenomenal. I got a little bit of an issue with him in the run game. I think he plays like a lighter guy, and he's long, right? So he's got to get a little bit of a better base. In terms of pass pro, very crafty, does a great job, like just, he can handle power rushes, he can handle speed rushers. I think it's the type of guy that you want protecting your franchise quarterback. Now, Abdul Carter is different. I've looked at a lot of these edge rushers, and where he's winning right now is he's got a developed repertoire of moves. He's a smart rusher. He knows when to put the different moves on, and he can eat up space. When you're playing teams that like to get the ball in space, he's good. So you can't miss here.
4-3 edge.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
He could do either scheme.
Okay. And definitely help out Montez Sweat on the D-line as well to give him a little relief and not have the attention focused solely on him. But I do like Will Campbell, especially with him being a 3-year starter at LSU. Obviously, Jaden Daniels there last year helped in terms of him getting that Heisman by protecting him. So he's coming to a situation, if the Bears draft him 10th overall, to be able to understand the play with a very talented quarterback.
All right, let's try this one. How about choosing between Ohio State edge rusher Jack Sawyer? You remember Jack Sawyer and the big touchdown, or Ohio State, another Buckeye, offensive lineman Josh Simmons. Who would you take?
Jack Sawyer is the interesting one here because I do think he plays a little bit more like a big end at times. So you could put him in there in the 4-3. He'd be a great run defender, but we saw at the end of the year the pass rush really came on. Josh Simmons, I think, is special. He's coming off of an ACL, so there's going to be a little bit of caution there when it comes to his draft grade. He came into Ohio State as a transfer from San Diego State. Developed. He's long. He's got great footwork. He plays nasty in the run game. I really like what he could develop into. It still feels like his game is rough around the edges, but again, if you're going offensive line, I like him.
Feels a little high for both guys.
I agree with that.
I think that would not be a number 10 pick. If you move down, if you trade down, which is a good option for Ryan Post and for Ben Johnson. You accumulate talent, you stockpile picks. That might be better at the later part of the first round.
Agreed.
But I think because of the injury situation, I might go Jack Sawyer here. Because I think he may be more predictable, easier to project, and he's the kind of guy you want in that locker room. When you talk about accountability and culture, he's your culture builder.
And a natural-born leader when you think of Jack Sawyer as well and what he was able to do to really get this team in that defense to perform at the highest level, especially when it mattered the most in the college football playoff.
All right, no doubt. Now let's take a look at some running backs maybe here in the later rounds. So Iowa had a great one, Caleb Johnson. Ohio State had a great one, Travion Henderson. If you're picking between the two, who are you going with?
I really like Henderson. I really think the way that he just is got explosiveness. I really think that he's tough to bring down. If I were choosing between these two, I think maybe, again, later first round, a little high.
You can't do it.
You can't do it there.
Can't do it.
But if you're picking between them and you're, late second, early third, then it's more tempting. Then it's more likely, give me Henderson.
I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. We're not saying that these guys will be drafted with that 10th overall pick later on in the draft, but you look at Henderson and a guy that doesn't get outside of himself. He understands the assignment of what he wants to bring to the team and how he fits in that scheme. But it's like once he gets hits, the yards after contact, it's just a guy that is tough to bring down, and you need that type of back in your system.
Yeah, I mean, he was phenomenal catching the football as well. And if you're he's not Jahmyr Gibbs by any stretch, but you could use him like that where it's not just handing him the pill. Caleb Johnson, I like a ton because when he gets out in the open field, very hard to catch, long strider. The thing about him, though, he's a bigger back that runs like a small back, and I don't love that.
Yeah, see, that's what you don't love. What you want is your small backs who are hard to bring down and run downhill. Because to localize it, when you look at the Bears offense, Ben Johnson, you need a compliment to DeAndre Swift. If you keep DeAndre Swift, no disrespect to Roschon Johnson, but he can't stay healthy. What you need is a compliment that's going to be more of a downhill runner. You might be able to find the guy in the 3rd or 4th round.
All right.